Good afternoon and welcome to this week's edition of It Could Be You. I'm your host, John S., and I'm right here with you in the studio right here at KABF at the just outside the downtown area in Little Rock, Arkansas, broadcasting to you at 88.3 FM. And for those of you who, well, I better say if you're a little bit further outside, just make sure that you're tuned in, at least on your smartphone or maybe laptop, desktop, something like that, to KABF.org, and there are a couple of listen live links on the homepage. I have been able so far to dodge some bad weather, and hopefully we'll be able to get some good information out to you that will help some individuals, provided the weather cooperates, but that's another story. I do want to thank everyone again for your recommendations for future guests. There was a guest who was on It Could Be You last month, and I got a really good lead to a potential guest for the not-too-distant future. So, what you recommend, what you suggest, is very serious to me, to the station. Because, we're still wanting to be independent, but as well as community radio. So as far as I'm concerned, as far as It Could Be You is concerned, your feedback is very, very important. Please keep it coming in. It could be you homeless. It could be you hungry. And as we're going to be talking about today, it could be you not only hungry, but you're in a food desert where your choices, where your access to really good, substantial, wholesome food are going to be rather severely limited. There were a couple of groups that have been on It Could Be You in the past several times. And, the two guests may not, at first glance, have anything in common except for the fact that they have been on It Could Be You. But much to my very great and happy surprise, members of these two groups have gotten together to address that food insecurity, to address some other things that are really plaguing and have been plaguing the Delta for some time. But it's really a wonderful thing. It is really a wonderful thing when these two groups get together to look at and to overcome a very serious problem, a situation that can, when resolved, be of help to a lot of people, even if it's in just one community, and can be a guideline for people in other communities to know about and hopefully to follow. With that in mind, I want to welcome First of all, I'm going to be kind of sexist here, and I'm going to ask the guest who's calling in from Fort Smith, the Fort Smith area, to introduce himself.
Yes, hello. Thank you, John, for having me on. I'm Robert McAFee. I'm the administrator for the Arkansas Citizens Climate League, and we work with communities around the state to build relationships and listen to what their needs are and assist them in the best way we can to fulfill that need.
And you did so when you got in touch with a person that I describe, and I think pretty accurately, as a force to be reckoned with. Onie Norman, are you there?
Yes, I'm here, John.
Okay. And how about giving folks a little reminder of some of the groups, some of the work that you've been doing down Dumas way?
Well, right now, there's many things that I've been doing this past year. And right now, I'm involved with our Dumas Youth Development Club to really improve our park and develop our park in our neighborhood, our neighborhood park. So I'm involved with that. And also I've been really involved with the redistricting of our lines that was currently drawn. And there are various things from one to another that I'm really involved in.
And that park and the park idea is what brought you in touch with the Citizens Climate League. Before we go any further,
and I'd like to clarify that.
Go
yes,
for it.
I'm in touch with the Climate League, and they are really been a strength to my community ever since I got involved with them, through John, Shelley, and Jan, and with our group. So I am so happy to be involved with them.
Well, before going any further, Robert, what Onie's going to be talking about is really, I'm keeping my fingers crossed, it's going to make one huge positive difference down there. And Robert, there may be some folks listening from other communities, and they'll want to know about what's going on. But I think right off the bat, tell them how they can get in touch with you, or say with the Citizens Climate League, if they want to get more information.
Yes. For more information, you can email us at info@arkccl.org.
One more time on that one.
info@arkccl.org. Or visit our website at www.arkccl.org. And I'd just like to say, in listening to Onie and I have go back a long way. We both worked with the Arkansas Citizens Congress, and then a dozen years or so ago, Onie became involved with the climate work that we were doing, and we have been in contact with her since then, and we're happy to start assisting her with this project, which we're going to talk about today.
Onie, before we get into that, how about giving them your contact information? If they want to learn more about this project, or if they want to learn more about the range of work that you're doing to really try to make things better for so many people in the Delta.
Okay. First, my name is Onie Norman. That's O-N-I-E Norman. And my email is ONIET, the number 4, at yahoo.com.
One more time on that one, please.
ONIET, and the number 4 at yahoo.com.
Okay.
And my phone number is 501-804-2538.
Again, please.
501-804-2538.
All right. Now, I do know that both the League and Onie, the work you're doing, both of y'all are welcoming volunteers as well as donations. So, Onie, how about starting out? If someone wants to volunteer to try to help improve conditions in your area, we'll say all across the Delta, they can volunteer. They need to get in touch with you first, as well as they can make donations. And these could be donations of cash. These could be donations of clothing, furniture, anything like that?
Yes. My email address, or they can give me a call.
Okay. All right. All right. And Robert, how about the League? I know volunteers are welcome, and I'm guessing, and please correct me if I get this wrong, donations are also welcome for the League.
Absolutely. That's how we are able to stay afloat, if you like. It's through donations. And if someone listening today wants to make a donation specific to the League, when they go to our website and do that, they can make a note, and we'll certainly earmark that for Onie's project.
Oh, well, let's get straight into that. Okay, this is a park. The project is to create a park in Dumas. Now, let's get a little bit of the technical things. Onie, have you and Robert, all of you, come to a general agreement as to, first of all, exactly where this park is going to be located?
Okay. The park is located in Dumas.
Within the city limits? Within the city limits?
Yes, within the city limits in our community. And the land was purchased, and I believe in 1969, which has been quite a few years ago. And it's a 5-acre piece of property, 5 acres, beautiful. and it's got lots of shade trees, and then it also have lots of room beyond the shade trees for other things that can be going on in the park that I'll address in a few minutes. And the Youth Improvement Club purchased this property and to establish a park in the West Dumas community, which is basically African American community. But the park was supposed to be established for anyone that wants to come to the park. But it's going to be a community park for families and young children and, people of all different ages, but we focusing on, like family parks where there are things can include the whole family, bringing the whole family out.
And with that in mind, that will include facilities for anybody who's disabled, whether child or adult.
Yeah, we're really, and disabled, and then even with the playground equipment I'm looking at, that's what we're looking at, where it'll accommodate disabled.
Well, what are some of the facilities? What are some of those specific things that you're looking for to put into this park?
Well, now we're looking to start off because we only have the picnic tables there. They've been there for a while. But the other things like the gym sets and things that for the young children to play on, and then we're looking at doing a walking trail around the perimeter of the park, and just we're going to start off, and then we're going to add on as we go to make this a complete playground for families and children.
Now, what is there like a timetable that y'all are following? Are you looking towards a definite date, or maybe a kind of a hopeful date to really get things open where you can have the ribbon cutting and everybody can come in and see what it's all about? We're really hoping that at some point within this year, before the summer is over, we haven't set a definite date because we are just beginning to really try to pull things together to get some playground equipment and then a few other things. Now, we already have it's like a little basketball place for them to play a little basketball. But other than that, in the picnic table, that's all we have. Well, are there plans like, say, for restroom, toilet facilities, water fountains, anything like that?
Oh, yes. We have access to that. We have access to having those things, so we're going to try to make sure we have all of that available for the park. Gotcha.
Now, also, I understand that just as a playground, that's not the only thing that you're looking to have done. Am I correct in saying that there is also interest in setting aside maybe some of that 5 acres or maybe a parcel of land right next to it for a garden? Am I correct on that?
Oh, yeah, we are looking at that. And I've also had conversations where we get to later where this property is adjacent to the elementary school. And so we're looking at different projects that the school children at an early age could get involved in. And we haven't finalized all of those, but we were looking at something like that.
Okay. Now, and it was in this context, it was in this, if you will, need that you got together with Robert McAfee, with the folks at the Citizens Climate League. Robert, take over for just a moment, if you would. When did y'all get together on this? How long ago did y'all get together and start saying, okay, this is the idea, this is what can be done, this is how the league is going to be able to help?
Right. Well, Onie approached us last year, and she contacted one of our board members, Shelley Boniuto, who has also been a long and active role player.
And has been a guest on this program.
Yes, and she is actually the board member who has took the lead on that and obtained board approval to make this officially one of our undertakings. And so what we are doing right now is we're taking Onie's lead. We are actually support personnel, if you like, with what Onie needs. And some of the things right now that we are helping with is exploring funding opportunities, different avenues of that, exploring other things like, for example, with the community garden, examples of that within the area and in Little Rock. As you know, there's a very good community garden at Dunbar.
Yes. In fact, John Kane wanted me to specifically ask if that was one of the projects that gave you some guidelines, gave you some influence on putting together the plans, the specifics for this park in Dumas.
Well, we have, I mean, it is just right now a vision in the sense that that is as far as we've gone. We haven't gone into any specifics as to what Dunbar's done, how they evolved over the years, and so forth. But it is one of those things that we will assist Onie in research and finding, contacts to, lay this out, because the garden at Dunbar has been there for, I would say, at least 25 years or so, maybe more. And so it has taken a long time to evolve. And so at the park in Dumas, it would, start small, and evolve. And, it would, I think, evolve to meet community needs there.
Now, one thing that has happened locally, the Lehman Library in North Little Rock, and this is just near its main facility, which is, let me see, it's off Pershing Boulevard, between, on Pershing, JFK, very close to it. They recently opened up a playground, and they specifically made sure that it was accessible to anyone who has a disability. Now, if it comes down to it, Robert and Onie, would it be of any maybe guidelines or influence to see a playground, a park like this that might help firm up maybe some aspects of what you want to have for this particular park, and in turn, for what you're doing in Dumas to serve as an example for other Arkansas communities?
Oh, yes. And that's some of the conversation we're really having with the disability. And I'm working with a playground equipment company that's going to help us to develop those things with the playground equipment we get. And also it's going to be open to everybody but disabilities. And I must say this, we want this to be more than just a playground for the young children. And
sort of kind of like a community center or something like that?
Well, we want it to be like a learning experience incorporated in all of this, because we talk about the garden and the food desert, where young children can learn how important it is to have food and how to grow food and take care of the food that, and also with the environment. That's another thing. We have to start early, teaching our young kids about the environment and the pollution and all this type of thing. So I think this will give us an opportunity to connect with the young kids at an early age and start teaching them things that we know is essential to the quality of life.
Yeah, and to have a good expectation for a good future. Now, and with that in mind, Robert, this may fall more under the league's bailiwick, if you will, but I'm jumping to the conclusion, based on what Onie just said, that one of the things that y'all are going to really try to do is to insist on environmentally friendly features.
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead. Go ahead, please.
And I don't want to use the word insist, but encourage. And as I said earlier, we are taking Onie's lead, and the people in Dumas, and we want to work with them and help them and assist them in any way we can. And as Onie said, she feels like the environmental and the educational opportunities need to happen. So of course, the league and some of our volunteers, I'm sure, will be more than pleased to assist in that.
Well, would I be correct in saying that maybe some of the environmentally friendly directions would include maybe solar power resources, wind power, and that using materials that have even been partly recycled? Would I be correct in saying that those are part of the overall picture, the overall, if you will, contributors to the teaching of the young children about the environment?
Well, I really do.
Okay.
Because we could, teaching about the environment and how important it is to take care of our environment, and then like the waste we have, if it's not anything but a cup. That put it in the proper place, and some things are recyclable, and some things that just you do to help keep your community clean and the park clean. And I'm happy about this because it is connected to the school system, and I believe that could give them some ideas of how to begin teaching our children about the planet we live on and our communities. And
actually, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
And also, the people that come to the park
yes.
can learn different things about our environment and the climate change and everything. And I want to throw this in because I'm so grateful to Robert and the group for being a part of sharing all this information with us, because sometimes adults do not understand how important it is. And we worked on that, and then we did some workshops, and they've worked with us and how to communicate with each other to understand the impact of pollution and because of the climate change in our environment.
Well, that's kind of what I wanted to ask, that the people who are there, particularly the school kids, they could see for themselves, they could have, if you will, a kind of a hands-on situation, a hands-on experience to say, okay, this is what being friendly to the environment can do to us, to our families, to the land, to our climate, that they can see. They can have a literally a hand in or hands-on approach to say, okay, this is what will give us, all of us, a better future.
And we want this to be a place for activities and learning. And also, I think I mentioned this earlier, we're looking at a portion of this for a little T-ball field, or baseball with the smaller children, start them off early because it's so much fun, and then they can learn how to interact with each other and learn how to communicate, and it's several different things that we're just really looking at, so many things, I guess, to really make this a park different from lots of parks.
Now, only one of the things that you have said again and again is that whatever reforms are going to be done in the Delta, for example, they've got to take into account that there are underserved communities, and that this park and so much of the other work that you're doing in there, you're directing them at underserviced, if you will, community. Okay, why? Why, just for the benefit of the listeners, why should underserved areas or communities be targeted?
Well, I think in the first place, I think the underserved communities are being neglected or things having access to things, like, for instance, a park. In some communities, we don't have parks. I mean, like family parks for the whole family, and that affects our children and also affects the adults. So I think we should start working with the underserved communities and giving them the opportunity to explore some things that other communities may have that underserved communities don't have. And
now, last summer, Phoenix, Arizona, had a record summer temperature. That city hit 124 degrees Fahrenheit. I don't know if it was a one-day thing or several days. And several years ago, we had some Arkansas temperatures that were hitting the triple digits as well. Okay, and now Phoenix recently, very recently, in the light of all of this heat, this record-setting heat, okay, they plan to have, and I'm quoting, less asphalt and more green belts. Okay, now to both of you, this is a positive sign for like the Citizens Climate League, for groups only like you're heading up to step in and say, okay, if Phoenix, Arizona is going to be doing that, why can't places in Arkansas, why can't places, not just in the Delta, but all over, follow that example? Why can't we become smarter when it comes to city and community planning? To be smarter, to be more concerned about the future. Okay?
Well, yeah. And I think Onie's undertaking demonstrates this, that she is taking this issue and doing something about it, and not just talking about it.
Well, yeah, go ahead.
And I also would just like to say, I think Onie is helping to make a better place for the underserved community in Dumas to have a real positive experience with nature. But also, once this is up and running, it is going to benefit the entire community. Well, because they can see what an asset this is. And I suspect, it may spark more interest in doing things of this kind in Dumas or throughout Arkansas.
And I'm correct in saying that this is one way that Onie's work has begun to really have an impact and influence on future projects, the future work that the League would be doing, that to get together with people who are on site and saying, okay, this is the problem, this is what we've gotten. That Onie and other very committed individuals, Robert, would I be correct in saying they will be able to have an impact on what the League will be doing? Am I correct on that?
Absolutely, yes. I mean, because we always follow the lead of the people we work with. It's not our position to recommend a solution. We listen to what community members themselves need and then work with them to make it happen. And
Onie, would you say that has been a big influence on what you're doing, certainly for this project?
A big influence. And Robert, since I've been involved in this, there was a 6-year-old, I want to share this, that wrote a letter to our local paper. And she wrote this letter about the parks, that some of the parks, what they were able to attend, that it was just not good upkeep, and it was not sufficient. And she wrote this letter, how disappointed she was, and then how she had a 12-year-old brother that had ever been on a seesaw.
Wow! Oh my gosh!
Oh boy! And that was it touched my heart. And then I got a letter in the mail with no name or anything on it, but it was from this 6-year-old that sent me the letter, and I got it to send it to me, and it just touched my heart. I said, now this is something we seriously need to look at, the underserved children in our community, as well as the adults, because they see things and they feel like that they should be able to have such things, but why? Why don't we?
We're going to have to take a little break right now. We're already, I can't believe it, we're already at the bottom of the hour. And the powers that be here are going to get somewhat upset if I don't share some information with the listeners. So I want y'all to hang in there. You're listening to this week's It Could Be You, and I got a lot more questions asked. I got a lot more information to share. So hang in there. We're going to be back with you, a couple of minutes. So hang in there and make sure that y'all are paying attention, that you do want to get in touch with either the Citizen Climate League or and I describe her again as a force to be reckoned with, Onie Norman. I'm John S. I'll be back with you in a couple of minutes. Hang in there.
Profile America.
Onie Norman and Robert McAfee, are you still with me?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Onie, how about you going first? Reintroduce yourself and give that contact information for folks who want to learn more about what you're doing.
Okay. I'm Onie Norman, and my email address is ONIET, the number 4 at yahoo.com.
Okay.
That's ONIET, the number 4 at yahoo.com.
All right.
And my phone number, 501-804-2538. Again, 501-804-2538.
Robert McAfee, your turn.
Yes, Robert McAfee with the Arkansas Citizens Climate League. You may reach us by email at info@arkccl.org. That's info@arkccl.org. Or visit our website at www.arkccl.org. That's www.arkccl.org. Thank you, John.
All right. Now, before we went on to the break, Onie, you in particular, you were talking about the benefits that a project like this can bring. And I was getting ready for this program. I began to think, okay, what would some of these benefits be? And some of them are going to be pretty doggone obvious. And Onie, Robert, jump in if you want to add anything. One of the first things that comes to mind is that a community such as Dumas is going to potentially get a lot of really good publicity about this. And this would be publicity that would not only help Onie to help you get your name and your work more established, but Robert, as far as the league is concerned, I'm guessing, and correct me if I get this wrong, that this is going to be okay, this is a, pardon the expression, concrete method where the Arkansas Citizens Climate League can make a difference.
Yes, I agree. I mean, this is a key method, key result of the many years of working with Onie and the community, and the final result is working on a joint project.
All right, and for the go ahead.
Yes, and I wanted to add how important this project is to me and others, I hope. When we look at our communities and see the needs, and sometimes we see them every day, but we still neglect some of the things. And we neglect things concerning our children and their access to things to grow up and be healthy, productive young adults. And this, after I got this letter, not only did this have me concerned about just the community, but it became personal. When a 6-year-old could send you to see the needs and could send you a letter addressing some of the needs that the children need.
And children can be very, very blunt and direct.
Right, and this became personal. So I'm hoping that we can all look at this and take it personal when we see the needs in our community, and especially the underserved communities. And really think about the future of these communities and how we give our kids the opportunity.
Well, it strikes me that some other really good, positive action for a project like it would be good for the community as far as maybe getting a tax break. Would I be correct on that?
Yes.
Okay, and not only that, but it strikes me that there would be money coming into the community that even in the short term, if you have the park under construction, those folks have got to eat. They got to get some things to keep going. They got to find a place to stay. So that would be money coming into the community as well.
Yes.
And jobs. Onie, you have said on this program so many times that one of the big concerns that you have, and one of the big reforms you're pushing for is jobs.
Jobs.
And jobs, as I see it, okay, this would be maybe not for like hundreds of people, maybe for at least some. Okay, there would be jobs created for someone to come in to maintain the facilities,
Right.
to maintain the garden. Okay, so you've got the possibility of jobs, and heck, you would probably need to have some people who are trained in, if you will, maintaining a solar or a wind power source of energy to be on hand, and maybe just start training others for the same purpose. Jobs once again.
Yes, you're right, and hopefully that this will strike a spark in our community and other communities too. So you start with a project, and you have a vision, and it grows and grows, and it can take legs to really aid other things to come forth.
Now, I hate to say this, but Arkansas being Arkansas politics, whether you're dealing it at the state or the county or even the local level, in the context such as this, I don't know what would get some individual to say, well, I'm not too sure I like this park this whole park idea. Onie, Robert, I don't know if you've run into or expect to run into any opposition, but are you prepared, in light of, say, what we were just talking about, the benefits to the community? Are you prepared to say, are you prepared to recognize and then effectively deal with or overcome any opposition?
Well, I am. I'm certainly prepared because this is a need in our community, and this is a rural community, and it's in the Delta. And when you look throughout the Delta, there are many, many needs that can be addressed. And this is why we are involved in this type of work, Robert and myself. We're concerned about communities as well as other things that goes on.
Well, Robert,
we got politics, we got other things, but community.
Okay,
helping people, underserved people.
I want to get into that. Robert, your turn. Are you prepared to recognize and to work with Onie to overcome any potential opposition to this idea? It just strikes me that the need is there, and how can someone with any, and I'm going to be blunt, any real sense oppose something like this?
Well, of course, and I think that's just something, you always have to be prepared for, that there will be opposition. Hopefully, I think, as you said, Onie is a force to be reckoned with. I think Onie can, talk with people and so forth, and I think that's her strength. How we can help Onie is if she needs specific information or whatever. But I feel confident that Onie has the ability to deal with any opposition and do it in a manner, that's effective and positive, and just will allow the project to go forth.
Would either or both of you welcome, say, like recommendations or input from some Arkansas-based organizations? I'm thinking like the Arkansas Department of Parks and Tourism, or Heifer International, or Windrock Farms, the Winthrop Rockefeller Foundation. Would those be organizations, groups that you'd like to hear from, that you'd like to get their feedback on a project such as this?
I think so. That's one of the things that, we're in the process of helping Onie do is collect more resources. Just recently, we learned that there's a possibility of money from Union Pacific Railroad because Union Pacific runs in that area.
That's right.
And they have money for communities in their service area. So that's a real possibility of getting corporate buy-in.
Well, what about some of those resources? Let's get into it. Is there any funding that's already been lined up? Or is there future? Are there going to be some future, if you will, sources that you'd like to turn to for funding, whether it's going to be at the local, state, or even at the federal level?
Well, I think Onie has talked to several people in the Dumas community about funding.
Well, in there,
Yes. Yes, I have, and I also just this morning I talked with our county judge, and I told him about the project, and he wants to be engaged in it. So most of the people I'm talking to want to get engaged with this project, and like I said, the school system, because they know there's a need. And I'm thinking with projects like this, we talk about building infrastructure for communities. This is part of an infrastructure piece that I don't think it needs to be neglected or missed.
And it strikes me that something like this could help keep a community alive.
Right. Yes.
And there should be, only then as you see it, there has to be a pretty good level of direct community involvement. Okay, that say, okay, this is going to be something that's going to benefit, that has the potential of benefiting everybody in the community. But you want, like you took it to the county judge, okay, and you say, okay, here's information and here's the proof of how this is going to benefit X, Y, and Z neighborhoods, X, Y, and Z areas of the county, and so on.
Well, yes, and I have a whole list. We wouldn't have time to go through everything that's being done, but I have a whole list of potential donors, I believe, that I'm going to contact, and some of them I've already have contact. Now, there's a Morton Woodman here that has a office here in the community, and I've contacted their representatives, and they think it's a great idea, and they're going to come aboard. Of course, this would be a matching whatever up to $2,500.
And there's and there would be a lot of federal grant money that's should be out there as well. Is that something that you have or will tap into?
Yes, and I talked about that with the judge because we have a county grant writer, and I talked to him about helping tap into some funds for parks and things of that sort for the community.
Well, now, Robert, let me direct this to you. Now, the work that y'all are doing with Onie, the work that the League is doing, has that helped you and maybe the League in Arkansas in general establish like maybe some priorities in working with other communities, Dumas being a very, very solid example? Would this help maybe the League to set up priorities like say, okay, we need to get in touch with and find out about working with such and such a group first, right off the bat, as well as the League's recommending environmentally friendly materials, as well as the importance of location?
In a sense, yes. It will certainly serve as a model or an example of the way that the League has worked in developing this relationship and working with other communities that we might hear from. So it's not our policy to go into a community and say, here's a plan, let's do this. What we would do is go into a community that we have worked with in the past and listen to their environmental concerns and say, here's one possibility. Because I don't know, but I imagine that there are many underserved communities throughout South Arkansas who have very inadequate park systems. So I think this would be a working model and an example. I think the key to this is the leadership that Onie has taken on this. Just like, obviously she's got some pretty powerful allies already on board. The county judge. I mean, that's in a community that's a significant accomplishment. To have that, and and also to have the elementary school on board.
And, well, now would that be sort of like say, okay, that the league would recommend that you have like these ducks so far lined up in a row, ready to go, and that the league, if asked, might provide information to get all of the ducks in a row, so to speak?
Yes, and I think what we would prefer to do is have the community reach out to Onie and talk with her. And I mean, we would certainly facilitate that in any way we could. But I think coming directly from Onie as the instigator of this project would be more meaningful. It would be direct contact. And like I said, I see our role as facilitating and, again, helping another community in any way we can, whether it's like with research or whatever.
Okay, Onie, what's sort of next as you see it? What's sort of the next step? Certainly, the next step involving the Citizens Climate League.
Just support and information, and just working to help us through this project. Just support and information.
Okay. Now, I asked a couple of moments ago about Arkansas-based resources, and it struck me that there are some groups outside Arkansas that have a record of kind of working in similar, if not exactly the same direction. And one thing that really struck me would be the Tuskegee Institute in Alabama, with all of the work they've done on soil preservation, sorry about that, preventing erosion, coming up with ways to do things better, and certainly that would benefit the environment. So whatever resource is out there, they should know about what you're doing, about what the league is doing, and say, okay, here's something that we have, it might work for you. Would you like for us to get in touch with you? Would you like for us to come down and see what's going on?
And Robert, I would love for this to become a model for other communities to be able to work together and reach out to anyone that's interested in helping to really support the efforts of what's going on in our underserved communities.
And I think that's where the league, with some of the professional people and so forth, could help, create this as a model and provide the, framework for a curriculum and user's guide, so to speak. I think this is something. I agree with Onie. I think this is going to be a
model project. A model project.
Yeah, and I think over the thing, Onie is going to see some successes, some things that could be done different. And it's a learning experience. But I think this is the beauty that she has tackled this and is fearlessly engaging the city of Dumas to help her out.
And here we can hope that there will be a lot more, in the best sense of the word, Dumases scattered all over Arkansas. Now we're almost out. We're almost out of time. So before going any further, Onie, you first. Contact information for people who want to learn more about the Dumas Park project. Go ahead. Your contact information one more time.
My contact again is. My email is ONIET, the number 4 at yahoo.com. Again, ONIET, the number 4 at yahoo.com. Telephone number is 501-804-2538.
Again,
501-804-2538. 804-2538.
Robert McAfee, what are the best ways to get in touch with you and or the Citizens Climate League?
Yes, by email, info@arkccl.org. That's info@arkccl.org. Or visit our website at www.arkccl.org. Our website, www.arkccl.org.
Okay. Onie, last word.
Yes.
Is there one thing more? Just a few seconds left. Say just 30 seconds. Is there anything more about the project?
And I want this to be a model project, and we are open to ideas, innovative ideas, because we don't have it all, but we're open to ideas and input to make this a great project.
All right. We're going to have to leave it at that because we're really out of time. Onie, I know that you are going to pay a return visit to It Could Be You in April, and hopefully you'll have some really good progress reports on that, but also a very frank discussion about some of the other things that you're fighting for in the Delta area. And Robert McAfee, I am going to keep my fingers metaphorically crossed that the Citizens Climate League or a similar group, that you're going to be back on the program as well. But
you can count on that, John.
Fair enough. Well, I'm going to have to leave it at that, and I want to thank both of you again so very much for making this week's program a really good one, and I'm hoping that this is going to start something wonderful for all over the state. Thank you, and I'll be talking at you later. Take care.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Bye now.
Goodbye.
Well, there you have it. Next week, my scheduled guests are going to be with the Central Arkansas Development Council, committee. Oh, I'm brain dead today. CADC. I had my place given some really long overdue help making it better, more winter resistant, and that got the idea on. So I'm going to have someone from CADC on next week, maybe more than one person, and we're going to be talking about the work that CADC is doing, and especially the work that can benefit homeowners. Between now and next week's program, again, I say to everyone, take care of yourselves, because you never know. Something between now and next week, well, something could happen. And it could be you that it happens to. And I'll be with you next week.